Hello guys, welcome back, and in today's video we're gonna talk about Tooth Fairy. Yeah, it's finally time for Tooth Fairy to appear. She's coming, finally releasing on 1.2 phase 1. She's gonna be the first to appear. She's gonna be in a banner with Beacon Bloom and Blunny. Now, before I begin, I just wanted to let you know that we're gonna do a mass community poll on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Jakazin. So if you wanna come, participate or watch, either go there and follow if you want to watch. If you want to participate, you can join my Discord in description, and then I will explain to you how to do it, okay? So we're going to do it on Thursday on 4 p.m., more or less, GMT +1. So if you want to tune in around that time, it's going to be a little bit later because I'm going to wait for everybody to turn in. So yeah, so now you know, okay? So let's move on and talk about the character. Now, Tooth Fairy is a very, very powerful unit. Everybody was hyping for her. Everybody, even when the game came out, people already knew that they wanted to get Tooth Fairy. Why, okay? Now, if you don't know the character, this is the video for you, okay? Now, we're going to check what she is. She is a star mental healer. She's a star mental healer. She's really, really powerful. She revolves around critting a lot, debuffing the crit, shredding the crit rate, the crit defense of the crit resist, the crit defense of the monsters, and purifies allies, crits on the heal, and more, okay? Now, she's a very, very powerful character, so let's check her kit. First of all, the ult, Song for the Bad Tooth. It's a one target attack, deals 500% mental damage, and it has 30% critical rate intrinsic inside the card, okay? After this attack scores a critical hit, purifies stats down, negative status, and control from all allies. Now, it's not specified if you are included or not, if Tooth Fairy is included or not, or it's just everybody else, but we'll see when we get in game. Moving on, Empty Gums, it's the debuff card. It's a one target attack again, it deals 150, 250, or 450% mental damage to one guy, of course, and inflicts one stack of confusion on the target. Now, it's one stack, and it's not one layer, and it lasts for one round, which this means that you will be debuffing the enemy with confusion, which is critical resist minus 25%. And on top of that, you can attack it as many times as you want. It's not a layer, so it's not going to go away until the round is over. So it lasts for longer, so you can do more damage, okay? Now, moving on, the Lullaby is the healing. The healing is mass healing, so it's an AoE healing, so it's pretty good. And you restore HP equal to 80%, 120, or 200% of Tooth Fairy's attack to all allies. Now, the good part is that you also have the critical rate increase on the card, so it's a high chance for you to crit. Now, why is she good for critting, you might say? Okay, she has confusion, but all the other characters have confusion as well. Now, this is where the insight comes into play, because her insight 1 and insight 3, the baby tooth collector insight in general, is very, very strong, and it gets more powerful on insight 3. Some people say you don't need insight 3, but I beg to differ. I think insight 3 is very important, and I will tell you why in just a second. Let's just check insight 1 first. Insight 1 gives you a new mechanic when you play the game. You start and you have 3 icon, you have like 3 stacks of a tooth icon on top of your head. When any team member plays a card, she gains 1 tooth, okay? After she gets 5 tooth, she consumes the 5 tooth, and she applies a debuff on every enemy that consists in critical resist and critical defense minus 15% for 1 round. Now, you can stack more than 5 teeth, 5 teeth if you do many cards during that turn. She doesn't consume the tooth immediately, so you can stack as many tooth as you want, assuming you have many AP. Maybe so in a 4-man fight you will be able to stack more because you have 4 AP, right? And on 1 round, and at the start of the next round is when you use the tooth, okay? Now, on Insight 2, you just get healing done plus 10%, which is fine, which is pretty good. And it's actually pretty good, and I will explain why in just a second. But let's read Insight 3. Insight 3 says, when triggering the baby teeth stats down effect, all allies recover 10% of missing HP, and when entering battle, she gains an additional 2 baby teeth. Which means that now, if you have Insight 3, you start the combat with 5 tooth, you instantly consume them, you instantly heal, which is wasted on turn 1, but it still goes on. you instantly heal and you instantly shred critical resist and critical defense on the enemies. And so that way it makes you start with an advantage because everybody is already shredded immediately. Okay. Now the healing done is good. It's better than you think because not everything can crit. Not every heal can crit. Now the healing done from Hindsight 2 helps the healing of missing HP from the baby teeth trigger because that healing cannot crit. Only this card can crit. The lullaby can crit, right? So that one can crit, but the 10% missing HP from the baby tooth collector trigger on I3 doesn't crit. So keep that in mind. It helps a lot. Now, yeah, sure, she's good and all, but now what if you want to get some portrait, right? Does she get better? Are there any portraits that are like worth going for? Yes, there is one that is kind of close, but as a free-to-play, you shouldn't use your pulls unless you're skipping Changeling, Jessica, or Jessica and 1.3, right? Because otherwise you're gonna be left with 0 pulls here, okay? Unless you're extremely lucky. I hope you are. I hope you will be, but keep that in mind that it's not too good of a goal to, not too a realistic goal to have, okay? Now, the biggest portrait, in my opinion, is P2, because P2 gives you one more round on the debuff that you apply from the baby tooth collector stack, right? So you get 5, you apply this debuff, this double debuff for 1 round. If you have P2, it's going to be 2 rounds. What this means is that you're going to be able to have a bigger coverage and longer coverage where you have multiple turns of uptime. So if you have P2, you're going to immediately, if you have P2 and I3, let's say, you apply immediately the debuff, and it's going to last for 2 turns instead of 1. By the time the second turn has passed and the debuff is about to expire, it's basically guaranteed that you're going to have enough tooth collected for the third turn. Okay, so it's going to be almost always there, the debuff. So that makes Tooth Fairy coverage for the debuff way bigger, if not almost permanent. But at that point, you kind of want to time it a little bit, even though I don't think you can mess it up too much. So this makes it so you can almost have permanent baby tooth shred application. Now the biggest one, it's not actually, I think the biggest one is P2. The another big one is P5, which increases the debuff. Instead of being minus 15, it's going to be minus 25, which is big, but it's P5. So I don't know if you can reach there. If you're well, good for you. Now you have her P5. So she gets really, really good on P5 because the debuff is bigger, so you get more damage because that's critical damage as well as a critical rate, right? It's not just critical rate. It makes everything easier to crit, even you, and gives you more critical damage for your DPSs. Now, this is kind of wasted though on Tooth Fairy because Tooth Fairy is not going to deal too much damage, okay? You want her to crit, but the shred is on the enemy, so you do not possess this bonus on you because so the critical rate is not going to be 45, it's going to still be 30, okay? So now let's move on and touch on a little bit delicate topic, which is which Psychube is better for her. Now, there are 2 options. There are big options that I'm not going to touch too deep into it because I made a dedicated video about it. If you want to know more about this, go back in the channel and check the Huge Dilemma video, which talks very in depth as of why this is an argument going on, still ongoing. We don't really have an answer yet. So which Psychube is better for her? There's 2 that are really, really powerful and really close. So which one is better, we don't really know, but it's either her Psychube, quote unquote, which is called Beyond Wonderland, or Inquisitive Deer. Now, Beyond Wonderland is the one that you get for free from the shop on 1.2. You do the store, you get the tickets, you buy it, and it's free. And the other one that most people have is Inquisitive Deer. Now, there is a debate going on which one is better. People trying to theory craft mathematically which one is better, and it comes out that Inquisitive Deer is a little bit better. It's a little more reliable, let's say, in pure healing, while Beyond Wonderland you need to amplify it to make it so it's almost better, so but at the same time you just amplified it, so you need like multiple gluttonies, which is not like the best thing. Not everybody wants to do it, but calculations say that they're really close. So if you want to know more about this, go check the other video. This is not the video to talk about this. So the two Psychubes that are recommended are Beyond Wonderland and Inquisitive Deer. You can use other stuff, but for better healing, you want to do one of these two. Beyond Wonderland, one of the good things about Beyond Wonderland is that you get max HP from the bonus of the, not the amplification, just the bonus of the Psychube, which realistically, if you stop at level 50 Ascension, you get 14% max HP, which mitigates a big problem that Tooth Fairy has, which is being super squishy. She's basically as squishy as Charlie. So if any of you that are playing Charlie, if you know how squishy she is, Tooth Fairy is going to be just as squishy. At the same level, she has 1 to 1.2k less damage, less HP than Sotheby. So she has 1000 or 1200-ish less HP than Sotheby. So imagine that. Now, moving on what's her role? Her role is healing, okay? I don't really know if you should use her as a debuffer, to be honest, as a support DPS. She's not a DPS, but you can put her like maybe in the middle and just do the heal when you need and do like a little bit of confusion here and there on the card without trying to do big damage, okay? Just do that, or maybe make it so she can crit all the time, so you can do some, you can have some value from the purification and confusion and healing a little bit, and the shred. She can be used not as a healer, especially on 4-man teams. You can do double healer, quote unquote, and use Tooth Fairy as a debuffer and a heal with someone else. That's an option. But personally, like the biggest role is for her to be a healer, okay? Because she heals a lot, and you can also heal on the crit, which makes her healing like extremely big, okay? Now, is she flexible or not? I think she is, even though you're gonna miss some value if you don't pair her with characters that want to crit. So for example, you don't pair with Lilia, or you don't pair with Regulus. Sure, Regulus has 50% increase, but like still critical damage is gonna help a little bit. So, or any character that wants to crit, you're gonna miss some value. But that said, I think that with the resonance, you can get really close to get everybody to crit with Tooth Fairy, okay? Because like if let's take for example Melania. If you build Melania critical, you might be able to reliably crit thanks to Tooth Fairy, especially P5. P0 maybe you don't get to a high enough to be super reliable, but it could be an option. She's very powerful when it comes to enabling people to crit, but of course keep in mind that this is like not the intended way of using her, so you technically lose value if you are pairing her with someone that doesn't want to crit or doesn't really rely around critting. So if you do have Lilia or characters that want to crit, do that. Tooth Fairy is going to be a great addition. Otherwise, you still can use Tooth Fairy. You will still get some good things from her, even in a non-crit environment, but keep in mind that you're losing some value, okay? Now, what's the resonance for Tooth Fairy? I mean, I don't have to tell you, it's basically full crit. But if you get to a high enough critical rate, right? And now, okay, I'm reliably critting. In that case, maybe you can switch to a little more attack to get more healing. But I don't think you will be able to do that without completely specking into crit rate for Tooth Fairy. I don't think, at least. So, because like, for example, if you want to crit on the healing, you're not going to be using the confusion. You're not going to be using the critical resistant defense shred from the Baby Tooth. So this is still 30% critical. That's it. You're not going to get higher. On top of that, you might miss the purification on the ult as well, if you have low healing on your resonance, low crit on your resonance. So keep that in mind, that you might just want to go full crit as high as possible, just so you can get higher crit. And for that reason, I think there's an argument to be made that you could even use Thunderous Applause on her, just for the 14%, 16% critical rate increase. So that way you get higher and you get almost guaranteed critical on both the healing and the ult, but you're gonna miss. I think you're still gonna miss a lot on healing. So I guess that setup is just for in case you don't want to heal with her, you just want to purify, and you're using it as an off healer or something. In that case, maybe, right? But keep that in mind that it's like by any means isn't the intended version of playing her. Okay, so I don't think there is anything else. Let me know if I'm missing something, if I'm neglecting some aspect of the character. So that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.